Magnum, P.I. is an American television series starring Tom Selleck as Thomas Magnum, a private investigator living on Oahu, Hawaii. The series ran from 1980 to 1988 in first-run broadcast on the American CBS television network. According to the Nielsen ratings, Magnum, P.I. consistently ranked in the top 20 U.S. television programs during the first 5 years that the series was originally broadcast in the United States. Originally appearing in a primetime American network time slot of 8 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays, Magnum, P.I. was one of the highest-rated shows on U.S. television. Premise: private investigator Thomas Sullivan Magnum resides in the guest house of a posh, 200-acre beachfront estate, known as Robin's Nest, in Hawaii, at the invitation of its owner, Robin Masters, the celebrated but never-seen author of several dozen lurid novels. Ostensibly this is quid pro quo for Magnum's services based upon Magnum's expertise in security. The pilot and several early episodes suggest Magnum also did Masters a favor of some kind, possibly when Masters hired him for a case. The voice of Robin Masters, heard only a few times per season, was provided by Orson Welles. With Magnum living a luxurious life on the estate and operating as a PI on cases that suit him, the only thorn in the side of this seemingly perfect lifestyle on the estate, is Jonathan Quayle Higgins III, an ex-British Army Sergeant Major, a stern, by-the-book ex-soldier whose strict ways usually conflict with Magnum's much more easygoing methods. He patrols Robin's Nest with his two highly trained lads, Doberman Pinschers, Zeus and Apollo. Often as a humorous aside during various episodes of the series, Magnum must bargain with Higgins for use of estate amenities other than the guest house and the Ferrari 308 GTS. The relationship between Magnum and Higgins was initially that almost of a friendly nemesis, but as the series progressed over the seasons, an unspoken respect and fondness of sorts grew between the pair, and as such, many episodes dedicated more screen time to this odd couple pairing after the relationship proved popular with fans. A recurrent theme throughout the last two seasons involves Magnum's suspicion that Higgins is actually Robin Masters since he opens Robin's mail, calls Robin's Ferrari his car, etc. This possibility is contradictory to numerous references throughout the series' earlier run. Although the three of them have been together before, Magnum is convinced that Higgins hired an actor to play Robin Masters. Aside from Higgins, Magnum's two other main cohorts on the islands are Theodore T.C. Calvin, who runs local helicopter charter service Island Hoppers, and so often finds himself persuaded by Magnum to fly him during various cases, and Rick Wright, who owns a local bar. In the pilot, this was Rick's place in town, inspired by Casablanca, with Rick appearing in suitable 1930s attire. However, after completion of the pilot, executives on the series felt that audiences would be unable to fully connect with this element, and instead Rick moved to running the plush beachside King Kamehameha Club, which has exclusive membership and Higgins on the board of directors, and yet Magnum often strolls around, using the facilities and running up an ever-unpaid tab, further fueling the Magnum/Higgins feud. TC and Rick are both former Marines from VMO2 with whom Magnum served in the Vietnam War. The series was one of the first to deal with Vietnam veterans as human beings, and not as shell-shocked killers, and was praised by many ex-servicemen groups for doing so. Magnum often dupes, tricks or bribes TC and Rick into aiding him in various ways on the cases he works on, much to their frustration, though the deep friendship between the group, including Higgins, proved to be one of the key elements of the series over its 8-season run. Magnum seemingly lives a dream lifestyle. He comes and goes as he pleases, works only when he wants to, has the almost unlimited use of a Ferrari 308 GTS Quattrovalvule as well as many other of Robin Masters' unregistered trademark luxuries. He keeps a mini fridge with a seemingly endless supply of beer, wears his father's treasured Rolex GMT Master wristwatch, is seemingly surrounded by countless beautiful women. Other characteristics specific to Magnum are his thick mustache, a Detroit Tigers baseball hat, and a variety of colorful aloha shirts. Nearly every episode is narrated, in voiceover, by Magnum at various points. And Magnum and Higgins often break the fourth wall by locking eyes with awe, occasionally, directly addressing the audience. Other characters also do this, though less frequently. At the end of the 7th season, Magnum was to be killed off, which was intended to end the series. The final episode of the season, Limbo, after seeing Magnum wander around as a ghost for nearly the entire runtime, closes with him seemingly walking off into heaven. However, following outcry from fans, who demanded a more satisfactory conclusion, an 8th, final season was produced, to bring Magnum back to life, and to round the series off. A number of other episodes also make reference to supernatural occurrences and the seeming existence of ghosts. The show also recognized the existence of the fictional elite police unit that appeared in the series Hawaii Five-0. In the pilot episode, Magnum references the unit's chief Margaret by name. This was a tribute to the long-running show starring Jack Lord, that ran on CBS from the fall of 1968 through to the summer of 1980 to be replaced, in essence, in the fall of 1980 by Magnum, P.I. The show also did crossover episodes with Simon and Murder, she wrote. The episodes Caius Don't Lie, a novel connection begin respective plots that conclude on the Simon episode Emeralds Are Not a Girl's Best Friend, and the Murder, she wrote episode Magnum on Ice, both of which featured Tom Selleck as Magnum and John Hillerman as Higgins, while Jameson Parker and Gerald McRaney guest starred on Magnum, P.I. As the Simon brothers A.J. and Rick and Angela Lansbury guest starred as Jessica Fletcher. For rerun and overseas purposes, the first half of these crossovers also had alternate endings filmed, which wrapped the story up in a single episode and so allowed repeat showings to be shown as standalone stories instead of being two-part crossovers. The successor series to Hawaii Five-0, paid tribute to Magnum, P.I. When in the 2013 episode Ho Pili the cast referenced the show Magnum, P.I. as they were flying over the island in a helicopter to the sound of the Magnum, P.I. theme. Cast: Tom Selleck as Thomas Sullivan. Magnum 4, growing up in Tidewater, Virginia, Magnum is a Detroit-born third-generation naval officer, the son of a deceased naval aviator killed during the Korean War. He is a 1967 graduate of the United States Naval Academy where he played quarterbacks for the Naval Academy football team. He served as a Navy SEAL operator during the Vietnam War where he was trained in counterinsurgency, as a sniper, in lockpicking, safe-cracking and assorted firearms including his favorite sidearm, the Colt M1911 pistol he carried in the Navy. He resigned from the Navy in disillusionment after approximately 10 years of service, including 3 tours of service during the U.S. military involvement in the Vietnam War, his final post being with the Office of Naval Intelligence, although the show referred to it as the NIA for Naval Intelligence Agency, in Hawaii. Asked why he resigned, Magnum explains, "I woke up one day at 33 and realized I had never been 23." Thomas begins the series at age 34, having resigned from the Navy 1 year prior. Magnum takes his job seriously and does not appreciate abbreviations such as PI or Private i.e. Euro. Whenever referred to in such a manner he corrects the person and remarks that he is a private investigator. Roger E. Mosley as Theodore Calvin, a.k.a. TC, a helicopter pilot who operates a tourist charter business called Island Hoppers, wherein he pilots a Hughes 500D helicopter, decked out with distinctive livery. A former Marine Corps Chief Warrant Officer and rotary wing pilot in Vietnam, TC's combat-trained flight skills are often solicited and put to good use by Magnum during the course of an investigation. TC is also powerfully built, a trait which Magnum often benefits from when he expects to a Euro, and often does our Euro encounter trouble. With the exception of some early Season 1 episodes, TC avoids alcohol, instead preferring milk, soda, or fruit juice, but mostly coffee. He often called Higgins Higgy Baby, and is coach of a local Pee-wee football team. The episode Missing Melody centers around his daughter who has been kidnapped. He also has a son with ex-wife, Tina. Larry Manetti as Orville Wilbur. Richard Rick Wright, a suave playboy who is manager of the King Kamehameha Club, an exclusive beachfront members-only club. In the pilot, Rick owned a disco-themed Rick, a Euro unregistered trademark Cafe Americain, where the decor was styled after the nightclub in the film Casablanca and Rick dressed like Humphrey Bogart's character, Richard Blaine in the movie. Rick also maintains a number of underworld contacts. Rick, a former U.S. Marine, is an expert in weaponry, particularly submachine guns and pistols. He was TC unregistered trademark S-Dorganer during the war in Vietnam while both served in the Marine Corps. John Hillerman as Jonathan Quayle Higgins III, the majordomo of Robin's Nest, a mansion in Hawaii. Higgins has a storied military background as a sergeant major in the British Army's Yorkshire Regiment. He often wears a blazer with that regiment's cap badge of galloping horse on the pocket and loves order above all else. As such, he and Magnum frequently argue over petty matters, often culminating in his use of the phrase "oh my God," in response to some outlandish act on Magnum's part. An inveterate Old War storyteller, Higgins received the Victoria Cross. He is frequently accompanied by his Doberman Pinscher guard dogs, Zeus and Apollo. Recurring characters: Lieutenant Yoshi Tanaka, Homicide Division Police Lieutenant with the Honolulu Police Department, characterized by his casual dress and ironic sense of humor. He is also, like Magnum, a Detroit Tigers fan and is murdered early in the episode Tigers Fan. Seasons 2-8, Agatha Chumley Higgins' quintessentially English lady friend. First appearance in the episode Black on White. Seasons 3-8, Colonel Buck Rurlino Marine Corps intelligence officer, often Magnum's nemesis. Seasons 2-8, LeGault also played John W. Newton, also known as Delta One in episode 1.9 Missing in Action, Carol Baldwin assistant district attorney. Seasons 3-8, Lieutenant Mac McReynolds donut munching Navy Intelligence Agency lieutenant, killed by a car bomb planted by Ivan, a Russian KGB officer and nemesis of Magnum. Mac returns as a ghost for 3 episodes and later as a look-alike character. Seasons 1-3 and 7-8, Jim Bonico con man and an ex-Navy pilot who was released on a medical discharge, who was also McReynolds' look-alike. In at least one episode Mackay appeared in both roles. Seasons 5-8. Francis Icepick Hofstadler German-American loan shark and major underworld figure from Chicago and Rick Riot unregistered trademark S father figure, Dr. Ebold, M.D. Doc Ebold a minor character who appeared in many episodes when scripts called for a physician. First referred to as script writer number 1, he was known for prescribing opiates for any and all ailments. Seasons 2-8. Cannon also played Dr. Bernard Kessler in episode 1.7 Never Again. Never Again, Michelle Huey the love of Magnum unregistered trademark S life. She and Magnum married in Vietnam but the marriage was invalidated legally and in Michelle's eyes when her first husband, a North Vietnamese general who was presumed dead, resurfaced. Magnum had believed that Michelle died during the 1975 evacuation of Saigon. Seasons 2-8, Lieutenant Maggie Pooley successor of the deceased McReynolds. She dislikes her superior Colonel Green. Seasons 3-8, Luther H. Gills mock film noir private eye from St. Louis, and narrator of the 5 episodes in which he appeared. Seasons 4-8, Lieutenant Nolan Paggia a hard-nosed, no-nonsense Honolulu Police Department lieutenant with a New York accent who assists Magnum on several cases. Moki bartender of the King Kamehameha Club in Season 1 who was later replaced by Kyoki. Seasons 1-2, Kyoki bartender/server of the King Kamehameha Club starting in Season 2. He is arrested by Tanaka for trying to rob the club in the episode Eyewitness. Seasons 2-4, Michael Skiller manager of the Sundial Club starting in Season 4. He was often jealous of Magnum's moustache and the full bushy growth he was able to achieve. As Magnum was leaving, Skull would always exclaim, "Hey Mag, the moustache is looking good." Jerry Allen Metzger, as ex-U.S. Coast Guard Seaman Jam, ex-boatman, ex-truck driver, ex-DEA and current member of the Building Authority, has his hand in everything including Higgins' ex-wife, guest stars, In addition to the recurring stars and the weekly appearances of minor actors to fill the roles of victims and crooks, dozens of notable actors appeared on the show. Carol Burnett, Ted Danson, Ernest Bourne, Kim Richards, Morgan Fairchild, Dana Delaney, Alfonso Ribeiro, Angela Lansbury, Gerald McRaney and Jameson Parker, Frank Sinatra, and Sharon Stone all appeared either before, during, or after making their names on the stage, in movies, or television. Setting: Robin's Nest is the fictional beachfront estate on the island of Oahu, Hawaii, which serves as the residence of the main characters. In the series, it is portrayed as owned by a renowned novelist Robin Masters, who is seldom present at the estate and entrusts Jonathan Higgins as the estate's caretaker and Thomas Magnum as its security expert. Higgins resides in the estate's main house while Magnum occupies the guest house. In reality, Robin's Nest is a private residence owned by local Hawaiian politician Eve Glover Anderson, who is the stepdaughter of Cox Communications heiress Barbara Cox Anthony, the wealthiest Hawaiian resident until her death on May 28, 2007. The property is known locally as the Anderson Estate. The Anderson Estate is located on the east shore of Oahu at 41-505 Kalaniana'ao Highway near Waimanalo Beach, a gatehouse, a private tennis court, a beachfront and the tidal pool. In the Magnum, P.I. series, the estate was primarily used for exterior scenes set at Robin's Nest. Virtually all of the indoor scenes set at Robin's Nest were filmed at the Hawaii Film Studio. Vehicles: cars, Robin Masters cars, Robin 1, Season 1, Ferrari 308 GTS, Seasons 2-3, Ferrari 308 GTSI, Seasons 4-6, Ferrari 308 GTSI, Seasons 7-8, Ferrari 308 GTS IQV. Robin 2, Audi 5000 Type 43, Audi 5000 Type 44, Jaguar XJ Series 2. Robin 3, GMC Jimmy, Jeep Wagoneer. Others: Island Hoppers van, Volkswagen Caravelle T3 Type 25, Rick's convertible, Mercedes-Benz A107, Internet Movie Car Database, and at least one Corvette in an early episode while Thomas and Rick drove side by side on a two-lane byway. http://imcdb.org/ Vehicle_32875-Mercedes-Benz-SL-R107.html. Rick drove the Mercedes from the middle of Season 2 through the end of the series. Rick's Datsun 280ZX, Nissan S130. Rick drove this car when the series started until middle of Season 2, when he got the Mercedes. http://imcdb.org/ Vehicle_37684-Datsun-280ZX-S130-1980.html, Aircraft, Island Hoppers Helicopter, Hughes 500D, Ken Endlen Charters, AN 9267F is a Hughes, Model, 369HS year built, 1975 construction number, 11507778S, development. Selleck's contract commitment to the Magnum, P.I. series famously cost him the role of Indiana Jones in the first Indiana Jones film, Raiders of the Lost Ark, which went to Harrison Ford. Selleck was unable to take the part of Indy as Magnum was due to start filming in March 1980. However, because of a writer's strike, the start of production on Magnum was delayed until December 1980, which would have allowed Selleck to play Indy. In Magnum, P.I.'s final season, the producers gave a nod to his sacrifice with the episode Legend of the Lost Art, which parodied the film. List of episodes. Broadcast history: United States, CBS, Brasilia Rede Globo, Venezuela Radio Caracas Televisia Cubden. Ratings: Season 1 Number 14, 16.77 million households, Season 2 Number 17, 17.03 million households, Season 3 Number 04, 18.80 million households, Season 4 Number 06, 18.77 million households, Season 5 Number 15, 16.66 million households, Season 6, not in Top 30, Season 7, not in Top 30, Season 8, not in Top 30, Awards, Selleck won an Emmy in 1984 for his portrayal of the title character. 3 years later, co-star John Hillerman also won an Emmy. In 1981, series creators and writers Glenn A. Larson and Donald P. Belisario received an Edgar Award from the Mystery Writers of America for Best Episode in a TV Series. Golden Globe Awards, Primetime Emmy Awards, other awards, DVD releases. Universal Studios Home Entertainment has released all 8 seasons of Magnum P.I. on DVD in Region 1, 2 and 4. On October 1, 2013, Universal released Magnum, P.I. the complete series on DVD in Region 1. The 42-disc set features all 162 episodes of the series as well as bonus features. Region 2 release dates refer to the United Kingdom market only. Includes the crossover Season 2 episode from Simon & Simon titled Emeralds Are Not a Girl's Best Friend. Includes the crossover Season 3 episode from Murder, She Wrote titled Magnum on Ice. Includes the bonus Season 5 episode from The Rockford Files titled White on White and Nearly Perfect featuring Tom Selleck. Includes a bonus episodes from the A-Team titled Diamonds and Dust, and Knight Rider titled Brother's Keeper. References. External links. Magnum, P.I. At fguides.com, Magnum, P.I. At the Internet Movie Database, Magnum, P.I. At tv.com, Magnum Mania.